Hello everyone, my name's Chris and welcome to your taster session which is filmed under lockdown. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make some character designs, but we're going to do something a little bit different in that we're not going to use any lines whatsoever. All we're going to use is big chunks of tone, and tone is obviously the difference between light and dark. Now when it comes to you developing your own character designs or just drawing in general, you're more than welcome to use lines. This is not the only way of doing it. It's just one technique which I think is very useful. So how we're going to do this? So what we're going to do is analyze facial features to look for some common sort of shapes, and we're going to do that by looking at a photograph. We're going to simplify those faces into three main areas: shadows, midtones and highlights, and we're going to do that by drawing over the photograph. And then finally we're going to create three or more characters just using tone and using these weird shapes. To play along, so to speak, you can, if you have a copy of Photoshop, that's going to be great. Otherwise, you can use other programs which are available, like there's one called GIMP, and there's also Serif Affinity, I think it is. If you don't have either of those, don't worry about it. You can get a piece of paper, print out the photograph, and put another piece of paper on top of it, and just use a pencil and trace over. So it should be alright for everyone. So firstly, I'm going to click on this and have a think for a second of what on earth that is. Any ideas? So if I was to tell you it was a face, you'd probably think, well, you've gone crazy because it looks like some weird Japanese warrior and maybe someone sticking a thumb in the air. Okay, well I'll make it a little bit easier and stick another layer on. Is that any better? Possibly, maybe, maybe not. I'm just showing you this to show how abstract things can get. But if I rotate this, suddenly you should see a little guy there, squinting at us. And if I zoom out a bit more, there are a couple more. Okay, and this is a technique we're going to use. So if we zoom into this middle picture here, we can see that we have white, which is just the white of the page, and it's flooding off all the way over here to the left. We have a mid-tone, which is like a pinkish colour, which is the sort of middle shadows, and then we've got these dark areas on top. So this shape here represents the eyelid, with the lower eyelid there, and we've got some shadows around the nose, and obviously the lips and things like that. Right, so let's get on with it. What you'll need to do is download the image on the canvas page, and open it in Photoshop or your whichever package you're using, or alternatively print it out and stick it on a window. Right, so this is a picture I found online. I think it was taken in the 1950s, so all of these little kids now will probably be retired and enjoying life. The reason I chose it is it makes a very good picture because it's high contrast and the sun's beating down on them. It doesn't actually make a very good image for the parents to like, because look, they're all squinting because of the sun. But for us, it's going to make a great little template to use. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to take the contrast right down on this so we can actually see what we're painting on top. So in order to do that, if you're on Photoshop, you'll need to go up to where it says Image, and we're going to go to where it says Adjustments, and we're going to go to Brightness and Contrast and click on that. You'll get this box come up. You click Use Legacy, which basically means use an older version of it, which I prefer. Move the brightness up till it gets nice and bright, and move the contrast down until it sort of greys it out a little bit. You don't want to lose all the detail, but you can push it back a fair amount. We click OK. Right, now what we need to do is we need to make some more layers on top of this, because when you work in Photoshop, you work on layers which are almost like sheets of glass that go over the top. So this is the layers panel, and to access it you just press F7 if you're on a Windows computer. I'm going to go down here and there's a little plus here. Click on it and it'll make you a new layer. And what we're going to do, these are the only two things we need, this toolbox thing and the layer panel. We're going to get a paintbrush, which is B for brush, and if we click up here, you can scroll through and find as many paintbrushes as you like. I'm using one here which will actually change size when I press down, because I'm using a graphics tablet, so I'm using a pencil basically. If you have a look on my webcam feed, this is what I'm using. So we've got this new layer on top, and what we need to do is pick a red colour. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go up here, make sure that is on H there, and let's pick a sort of mid-pink colour. The reason why I'm using pink instead of black and white is just so I can see where I've painted on top. If we did it in black and white, it would be a nightmare. I'm going to click OK on that. So we've got our brush. If we want the brush to be larger, we use the square bracket keys, which are next to the return button. And if you tap to the on the right bracket, it'll make the brush larger, and if you click on the left one, it'll make it smaller. Now, the only problem with this layer is it's obscuring everything that's underneath it. So what we actually need to do is change the layer blending mode. Really easy to do. You come up here into your layer palette, and can you see it says normal at the top? I'm going to click on that and change it to multiply. And what multiply does is it's like putting a sheet of sheet of coloured glass over it. You can still see everything that's going on underneath. Right, so I'm going to zoom into a victim, and the way you can zoom in and out is hold down the control key and press plus or minus. Minus takes you out, plus brings you in. I'm going to hold down my spacebar and click and drag, and I'm going to search around. Right, let's use this one first of all. Oh, and I'm going to make it more difficult. Well, I'll say more difficult, more easy. I'm going to rotate the canvas and put it upside down. You don't need to do this, but it just shows you how abstract things can get. And all I'm going to do here is just pick out, using this colour, any area that is not white. That's the only thing I need to look for at this stage. So if it's not white, you colour it in. If it's white, you leave it alone. And you might want to hum a little tune to yourself as you merrily paint away. I'll do this with maybe 2 or 3 faces. And with me putting it upside down, it forces my brain not to see this as a face, it just forces me to see the shapes. Right, that's pretty good. Let's move on to, let's look at this girl here. Well, say girl, a load of random shapes. I'm going to squint my eyes as well, because when you squint your eyes, it really brings up the difference between light and dark. So let's just scrub in that area. This is not white, so this one gets painted. Same with this, same with this, same all the way around here in fact. Good fun, isn't it? See, this is way better than doing accountancy or anything boring like that. Right, all this area is grey. And I'm just going to sort of leave that. It does fade out into white, but we're not doing that because we've only got 2 colours, or 3 colours to use. Let's flip this around the normal way and just see what we've done. Forget that area up here. So we've got this little lad. Oh, we've missed this bit. We can put this bit in. And let's put the neck in as well. That should really help to show you how this works. I've got that girl there. And why not? Let's stick her neck in as well. You will be using graphics tablets in college, so you don't need to get your own. If you do want to buy one, wait till you start and I can advise you on which one to get, because they do make any type of painting on a computer an awful lot easier. Right, so we've got that one. So what we need to do now is add another layer on top, and we're going to get the even darker shadows on. So once again, we're going to press the plus button there. We're going to change it to multiply yet again, because we want this one, we still want to be able to see what's underneath. And this time, I'm going to click on this pink colour, and let's just drag your mouse downwards, and can you see this new colour is a lot darker. Do you know what? Let's go with dark blue. Why not? Okay, let's zoom in onto this first kid's face, and again I'm going to squint and I'm going to look for the darkest areas. So this area is really dark around here. You've got a bit of dark there. So you're looking in the red area for anything that you can see just in the red area that's a bit darker. This is this area around the mouth. I mean, you see, I'm not doing lines, I'm just doing weird blobs of colour. Maybe there's a bit there as well. Right, let's go up to this girl. And you know what? I'm going to go upside down again. Just to prove. So, you see, it does make it a lot easier upside down. Because you're not going, oh, that's an eyeball, so we're going to have to make an eye shape. We're just scrabbling in here and just finding all these dark areas and just filling them. A bit there, there's a little bit here, I suppose. Right, that's good enough. Let's zoom out. Oh, creepy. Looks like she's got a tooth missing. Right, now what we can do is click on your background, and we're just going to stick a white layer above all this. So click on the background, click your plus button, and that'll make another layer. Go over to here and press G, or press on this button, which is the fill colour. Click on your colour, go up to the top left, and that should make a nice white colour there. Click OK, click on the screen. And can you see? That fills it in. And this is what we're left up with, these faces. And if you wanted to, you could put that into black and white. In fact, we will do that. I'm going to click on layer 1, go to image, adjustments, go down here and click desaturate. And the same with the top layer, click on the top layer, image, adjustments, desaturate. So it's all black and white now. And this top layer, I'm just going to fade out a little bit. So we've got some, I mean, this one on the bottom is especially effective. So we can really see this eye and the nose and how the light's falling on it. So this is what we can take going forward. So let's have a look at these eyes. So our light's coming in from this direction. Oh, let's go back into colour, boring in black and white. So our light is coming in from here, right? So let's say we've got a face. So what we can say is, okay, the light's hitting this, but underneath the eye sockets, there's no light getting there. So you end up with this sort of shape. So you've got, for the right eye, you end up with a C shape. Okay? For the nose, you don't see any of the nose really apart from underneath it. So it's just wherever the light is not getting to. And for the mouth, the top lip is in shadow, the bottom lip you leave, and you just do a shadow underneath it to make the bottom lip. So look, top lip, leave the bottom lip, and underneath just draw a sort of line, and that creates the bottom lip. And you can put a bit of shading on the chin just to make that pop out. See? So we've just got, it's so incredibly simple. It's just knowing what happens to these shapes when you change them. And I think that's the main thing about this, is for you to practice with that. We could put in a mid-tone as well. So let's go back to that pink colour. And we could say, okay, well the sun's coming from this direction, so let's just start thinking. So it's not going to hit on this side of the face, is it? It's not going to hit underneath there. And make sure that these shadows are sort of following the contours of the face. We could put like a little bit of a thing there. Alright, and look, that's taken, what, a minute? And you end up with something that's pretty realistic. You can put some more shadow underneath there. So we're going to move on to another picture now, and we'll try this in practice, and I'll take you through each sort of feature, and then you can mess around with it and try your own version of it. Right, we are back. So I've got another file here, and I've got a male face on the left and a female face on the right, and we're just going to try this technique. So the layer underneath, I've just put some grey on just so you're not battling against white. And I've also put the direction of this sun coming in from the top. So we're just going to do this top lip. So the best way I think about when doing this is to imagine you've got some icing sugar in a sieve and you're sprinkling icing sugar down there. So all you need to worry about is where the icing sugar is not going to hit. So let's go on to this. So underneath the brows, obviously, there's going to be no icing sugar there. Now I've traced these pictures from photographs, and I've tried to sort of pick out the sort of main shapes. So we can do the eyeball as well. I'm just using a solid brush, this type of shape here. To be honest, this is very, very zoomed in for me. I don't usually work very zoomed in. In fact, yeah, let's zoom out. So look, we've established the eyes already. Now if you want, you can bring this round here and start to get some of these eye bags coming in. So now we've got that C shape, which is there. And obviously the opposite on this side. The nose. So we can draw a little bit around the sides, but it's mainly going to be underneath. So we follow the shape of the nose. You can make it ever so slightly fatter in the middle because the nose is going to be a little bit more bulbous. Let me just get rid of that, make it look a bit nicer. And again, the shadow is going to be coming down here because no icing sugar is going to be hitting it. And it's going to be curving around like that. Now, the bigger the nose, let's do a side view, the deeper the shadow. Right, so let's do two noses. So if the shadow light's coming like this, you'll make a shadow this size. If it's a huge nose like this and the light's coming in, it's going to cast a much bigger shadow. So just by changing amounts of shadow, like how long they are and stuff, will actually give you a very good indication to your audience of how big the nose is. Get rid of that, that's not right. Okay, lips. So as we said, the top lip we'll do in shadow. So fill that in. Bottom lip we ignore because it's facing the light, and underneath we put in that shadow there. And all of a sudden, we'll put underneath the chin as well. Now, as we come to the side of the jaw here, the face sort of flattens out. So only when it starts coming to the chin is where you get a really big change in direction. So we'll put this underneath the chin, and we can bring this up a bit. So there you go, you've got all these shadows and stuff in, and it's pretty convincing. Let's just try the female face. Same type of thing. We're going to fill in all these areas. With female faces, you're wanting to have a lot more curves. The eyebrows are usually a lot higher. With guys, you draw squares. With girls, you draw circles and curves. That's general accepted. So again, we've got this C shape coming in, and the C shape down here. The nose will go a little bit more petite, but again we're going to cover up this bit here, which is the philtrum. Again, top lip, there's a much fuller top lip, and this girl's lower lip is a lot bigger as well, so the shadow goes lower down. Look, we can start cutting into this if you want and see how much you actually want to put in shadow. It's a lot of experimentation really, but what we can do is I can show you how to change these facial features. Okay, so let's say we want to make her bottom lip smaller. All we need to do is get the black and bring that up higher, right? All of a sudden, tiny lip. Let's make her chin bigger, push all that area up. On this guy, let's make his nose narrower. So all we need to do is start cutting in. That looks weird, doesn't it? And if we enlarge this area around here, it's going to make his nose thinner. If we bring it out, it's going to obviously make it fatter. If we accentuate the darkness under the eyes, it makes him have bigger eye bags. We can make the mouth wider. And we can come over here. She looks really miserable, so let's make her a little bit happier. You can smile. Put that chin. So there's a load you can do with this. And if you want, you can put the bone of the nose in, actually that does help. What you can do when you finish this, if you want, is to try and take it a step further and have your light coming more from this side. So we can start putting the white back in. It's quite tricky really, but again you're using icing sugar coming this way. So it's going to hit the nose. It's going to hit this side of the nose, this side of the nostril. It's going to hit this part of the mouth. It's going to not hit down here because this is where the sort of crease of your smile is. And it's going to hit this side of the chin. And maybe even a bit on this side of the lip. Have a go yourself on these and perhaps try and change some of these features. And just experiment with them. You can always draw more yourself. Let's just try this. So maybe the light's catching there. I'm just thinking all the time, spray paint, spray paint. So it's going to be, could be hitting here, could be hitting along this cheekbone, could be going onto the eye. See, I'm not spending years and years over this, and if I make a mistake, I can just go back over it and try something else and see if that works. This has gone from looking female to very male as well. So I don't know how that happened, but it did. So have a mess around with these two. You can take different screenshots if you want to compare them. You can always put more layers on. I had a go at this before. This was I spent a little bit more time on this, but again we're just using the light and dark. But hopefully it shows that you don't need any lines whatsoever. And it is something you definitely need to practice, and you need to look at faces, and you just need to draw and draw and draw and experiment and see how things go. So let's have a look down here. Let's just make a very simple character design. Oval shape. Okay, eyes are always in the middle of the head, so we'll draw a line that way. Draw a line coming down to make the centre mark of the head. And now we can just draw our C shape going that way. Our C shape going that way. A bit of a shadow underneath the nose. It comes down in a sort of triangle. Meets the top lip. The bottom lip you don't draw. A bit of a thing underneath there. And a bit of a shadow underneath the chin. And let's just stick the shadows of the ears in as well. Do one more. A thin face. Put the C in. Put the C in going this way. Let's put a wide nose in. Come down in a triangle. Top lip. Don't touch the bottom lip. Shadow underneath it. Shadow on there. Should you do one more? Yeah, why not? C shape. C shape. We'll have quite a big nose, casting quite a big shadow onto the top lip. Bottom lip. Let's have a big chin on this one. Big chin, big black shadow. Yeah, it's a cool technique, and it's a very good way of just coming up with some very quick characters. But these characters, you know, they do show a lot of emotion in them. It's got that nice film noir sort of comic strip look. I mean, if you do want to look at artists' work, then obviously look at people who do graphic novels and stuff like that. So, I hope this has been of some help to you. Like I said, it's something you'll need to practice a fair bit. You don't just get it. It takes a lot of practice. But yeah, good luck with it. See you later.